Have any of you guys out there ever been lost in a foreign country where you did not speak the language or know anybody there? Well, I have. And it would have been super helpful to have some direction, which is what we're going to talk about today. So here's the story. So, did you guys know that I've been to Africa? I feel like some of you out there probably know that, and some of you have probably heard my near-death experience stories, but I don't often tell the story about when I got lost in Africa in an airport with the flight to catch, and not speaking any of the language. I tell the story about being roared at by a lion a lot because that's pretty cool. And then my other near-death experiences. But not this. I don't really talk about being lost in the airport in Nairobi. And you're probably wondering, hey, Caitlin, all of your videos have been about the Alexander Technique. Like, why are you telling us this story? So don't worry. It's going to come full circle. I promise. Okay, so here's what happened. We were in Africa. My stepdad and I, we went to Africa. It was part of a school trip for me. So we were in Arusha, Tanzania, and then we stayed and we went to Malawi. So we were in Lilongwe, Malawi. So this happened when we were on our way home. So I'd been in Africa for about a month at this point. And so we were flying from Lilongwe, Malawi, and we were flying to Nairobi, and there was some stuff that happened on that plane ride. That's another one of my near-death experiences that I will probably get to at some point. We'll talk about. But we got off in Nairobi, and before flying into Amsterdam, I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and coming out, I couldn't find my stepdad. There was no one there. And we were in Africa. It was the middle of the night. There was nobody who looked like they would speak English. There were no signs or directions or anything that was in English, and I was lost, and I was a little afraid because I knew that we had a flight to catch, and I didn't know if I was gonna be stuck in Nairobi, and I was just a kid. I had no idea what was going on, so I thankfully sort of just went with my gut, went with my intuition, and picked a direction and just walked that way. And I did run into my stepdad. He was checking out like our flight information for our next flight, so I ended up not being lost for too long, but it was still a pretty scary experience for me. In most of the other countries that I travel to, I speak a little bit of the language, which helps me so that I don't feel like I'm ever going to be in a place where I'm not going to be able to find my way around to get some directions. Because if anyone knows me or has been in the car with me, they know that I have just a horrible sense of like cardinal directions. Like I will be lost. So I was not lost for too long because I picked a direction and I went with it. And what we're going to talk about today are directions. So where I am horrible with cardinal directions, I found out that in the Alexander Technique there is an internal direction, and it turns out I am pretty good at that. So for the Alexander Technique, the definition of direction, or sort of a basic understanding of what direction is, are the internal thoughts and commands that we give ourselves. We talk to ourselves all of the time, right? When I was lost, I was talking to myself. I knew that I was not going to find help with any person. I was going to have to rely on myself and my inbred sense of direction and what I sort of just knew how to do. But a lot of times our self-talk is sort of self-deprecating, and I know like I have a lot to work on with that as well. Like every now and then when I'm talking to myself, I have to be like, hey, no, that's not really what I want to be saying to myself, want to be putting back into myself. So self-talk is so important, and self-talk as a physical direction is really, really important as well. We talked a little bit about how we have sort of this debauched kinesthesia, right? We have an idea of ourselves physically and what we're able to do, and a lot of times that's wrong. And so the way that we talk to ourselves is really important, because if we talk to ourselves as if we are this thing that we don't quite understand, then we're going to end up perpetuating this cycle of a debauched kinesthesia. But if we are able to talk to ourselves and direct ourselves in a way that we understand what's happening with our physicality and understand the way things are designed to work, then we have a chance to be able to use ourselves in a different way that's going to be more beneficial for us. Our bodies are a little bit like that airport in Nairobi. They're confusing, and our parts don't always communicate to each other. There's different languages being used. There's a lot of different ways that things could go. There's a whole bunch of possibilities, and we sort of need an organizing intent, an organizing direction, a thought of where we want to go and what we want to do to be able to create a harmonious effort towards accomplishing a goal or pursuing something. And without this organizing intent, we can feel a little lost, kind of like how I was totally lost in that airport. Our bodies are a little bit like that airport in Nairobi, right? There's lots of different parts and lots of different things, and they don't always communicate together, and they don't always speak the same language, and there's a lot of different ways that things can go. And so to be able to have an organizing intent, an organizing direction that's going to bring us to be able to harmoniously achieve a goal or pursue something, we can feel a little bit lost. And it's exactly the thing that would have helped me in that airport that helps you navigate your body, and that is direction. What I suggest you do is to take 1 to 2 minutes at the beginning of your day or whenever you think of it to give yourself some helpful self-talk. Tell yourself all the wonderful things that you already are, and tell yourself all the wonderful things that you want to be. Alexander's classic directions are to wish for the neck to be free so that the head can go forward and up, so that the back can lengthen and widen. And we can tell ourselves these things in our 1 to 2 minutes of self-talk in the morning. If we have a shoulder that's bothering us, we can think, wish Alexander's wishes, our neck to be free, our head to go forward up, our back to lengthen and widen. We can say, I wish my shoulder to be free, or I wish my breathing to be free. And you'd be surprised how much just that wish, that thought, that intent, that direction is going to change your physicality. And it comes about indirectly. It's just the thought. But even so, there is such power in what we think and what we say to ourselves. You'll be surprised at what is possible if you just begin to change the way that you think and the way that you speak to yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am really glad that I got to talk to you guys about direction today, and I thought it would be fun to sort of include a little tidbit from some of my travels. So stay tuned, because next week there could be a story about one of my near-death experiences, and I know you guys don't want to miss that. Yeah, they're pretty cool. So maybe I'll include a picture of the lion that roared at me, because that was a fun thing that happened in Africa too. But thanks guys for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. I'm happy to see what you guys are doing and how things are working for you. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, let me know how things are going for you guys, or if you have any questions or things that you want me to touch on, I am here to help.